Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and today we're going to do a 1-year follow-up on my attempt at natural stump removal. It was exactly 1 year yesterday since I made the first video about trying to salt out a stump. So I do a ton of stump removal videos. I use a stump grinder, I've used a backhoe, I've used a mini excavator, I've burned them out. I've got 30 stump removal videos at least. And on those videos, I often get comments that you don't have to waste money on it or have all this equipment. You can just use natural stump removal. I thought, man, there's a lot of interest in this topic. Let's try it ourselves. So I started going on Google, doing searches for the best way to do a natural stump removal. And I found a couple of options, and I picked one of them that I saw over and over again. And I'm not trying to drag this video out, but before I go down there and check the stump, I want you guys to have an idea of why I chose this method and why it's supposed to work. So the two most common things are to either just add something that's really nitrogen rich to it or that has a lot of beneficial bacteria. You can buy stump removal products. From the videos I've seen, those don't really work. You can basically just saturate it in anything that's nitrogen rich. And that's supposed to help. Now the method I chose is salt. And when I did my first video, I had a lot of people that were flaming me and upset and calling me an idiot for thinking salt would help get rid of the stump. And the comments always said that salt preserves things. It's going to preserve that stump. We got a few comments on that. Number one, this is not my theory. I didn't dream it up. I didn't say I thought it would work. I just found this solution on the internet, and we're doing like a Mythbusters on it. And we're going to find out if it worked for me. So the theory behind it, as far as I can tell, is that when you cut down a tree, the root system will continue to feed the stump and provide it with nutrients, and it will almost stay alive. And I know this to be true because I've had new trees grow out of a stump from a tree that was cut down. So as long as the root system is feeding it, it's not going to rot. And by putting the salt on, you kill it. You kill the root system, you kill everything, and you dry it out. And then after the fact, once it's dried out, it rots much quicker. That's my understanding of the premise. For all the people saying it was a dumb idea, and me stating it wasn't my idea, it's also not just some fringe thing I found one person post. If you Google natural stump removal, you'll find 100 websites saying this works. I found like This Old House is supposed to be a reputable site. They suggested this. There were a bunch of sites that seemed reputable and well-informed saying this works. But let's stop talking and go down there and find out. So this is the spot, and just driving back here and seeing it reminds me of the second conversation that was going rampant in those comments. Is when this video's got 500,000 views on it, there's a lot of opinions being shared. And one of them that's just obvious and I didn't even think of beforehand is that the amount of salt I used will kill anything else from growing here. And that was the test that I did on my 90-day follow-up, is let's see if anything grows here. You can see we've got waist-high grass mixed with thorn bushes all in this area, but there's one little spot where nothing's grown. Now, for some of you that may not matter, and I'll make the comment also that I've done stump grinding as a side business, and when you grind a stump and then pile the chips in that spot and let them rot, it's not going to grow grass there for a few years either. A lot of people discount that when you go to stump removal. And I did one that's on my way between here and my kids' school. And I drive by it at least once every day. And I can still see it. There's no grass there. So I'm interested to see, is this still a bare spot in 5 years? Or is it just 1 year that it's like that? For my purposes, I'm turning all of this into hayfield. It was all big brush piles back here. I've been cleaning it up, cut down a couple trees, getting rid of the stumps. And as I'm moving into cutting my own hay this year, I want this to be part of it. So what we're gonna do now is just start digging this up, because I put a layer of like 3 inches of dirt over top of the stump. I'm doing this with my tractor backhoe, but I'm essentially doing the same thing you would do at your house if you didn't have a tractor, is walk out there every so often and jam a shovel in the ground and see how hard the stump is. And I'm just using the backhoe because I can scratch more surface in a shorter period of time. And I'm just trying to establish whether or not it's soft below this layer of dirt I've put on top of the stump. So I would say this was not a 100% controlled experiment, but it's the best experiment I had time to do. And I think it's probably better than any of the other tests I've seen on YouTube, because I haven't seen anybody else come back a year later and see if it worked. I just see people pouring the salt on and then shrugging their shoulders. So I dug 1 scoop of dirt 2 feet over from where the stump is. The ground's digging really easy. The backhoe has no problem digging up this ground. But where this stump is at, I'm scraping off that couple inches of dirt, and then it is rock hard. I can't scratch into it. After a year, it should at least... I thought the stump might not be gone, but if this was an effective method, it would be soft enough that the backhoe could scratch into it and pull up chunks. And it just wasn't doing it. I pulled 1 chunk off the edge. Let's look at it. We got a root hanging on here. This 1 chunk, this looks like a root that was running out. I dug it off the edge of where the stump was, and it broke off. I might have been able to break that off a year ago when I first came out here. So that stump's still rock hard. My verdict at the end of this is don't salt your stumps. I think you might have a chance of doing some good if you keep putting some fertilizer on it regularly throughout the year. If you're gonna spend some money doing that. Stump grinding still leaves you a spot nothing will grow. But stump grinding or a mini excavator are the ways to get rid of a stump. Anyway, I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.